have the pleasure to introduce our next speaker. Our next speaker is Mr. Niek Roozen. He's an advisor for Niek Roozen Landscapes. Nick is really an old friend of AIPH. He's been a landscape architect since 1974, and over the years he and his staff have worked both nationally and internationally on a variety of projects, including city parks, horticulture, and garden exhibitions and theme parks. In 1986, Nick founded Niek Roozen Landscapes, and the office started to grow internationally when they won the commission as the chief designer for the Floriade in the Netherlands in 2002. Nick is involved in the landscaping development for the Expo, the AIPH approved Expo Floriade 2022 in Almere, and he's going to talk to us about the power of plant selection in dominating landscape performance. And Nick has one of the key original author pulling together the original Green City guidelines, and is something of the father of the Green City as far as our industry is concerned. And so it gives me real pleasure to introduce to you Niek Roozen. Thank you, Nick.
Good afternoon. My name is Niek Roozen. I'm a landscape architect and co-responsible for the green structure at the next Floriade Expo in Almere. Almere is considered to be the most successful new town in the Netherlands. The city is only a few decades old, over the 200,000 inhabitants, and still growing as a part of the Amsterdam metropolitan area. I will explain you now about this new town which is under construction and which will be used for the International Expo Floriade next year. How does it feel to live in a green city? What is a green city? What is green inclusive building? What is nature inclusive construction? Next year, we hope that you can experience this at the Floriade 2002 in the Netherlands, a green and colorful platform to find your answers. For those who never visited the Floriade in the Netherlands, I'd like to explain you a little bit more about this kind of expos. It are exhibitions where growers every 10 years show their newest varieties of plants and their newest horticultural technologies. The first one in the Netherlands was in 1960 in Rotterdam, and the last one in the south of Holland in 2012 in Venlo. The Netherlands always participate at international horticultural exhibitions, like the IGA 2003 on the border of the Unterwarnau in Rostock. It's always a green city pavilion, and this one, it was a kind of a green cathedral where the latest information about horticultural sector in the Netherlands in relation to the green city developments was presented. Or see our pavilion in Taipei, a wooden hedge pavilion with climbing ivy, a good plant to purify polluted air. And 2 years ago in Beijing, 2019, to express how important green is for the well-being of our citizens. The legacy of the Floriade Expos in the Netherlands is always important for the organizing cities. What will remain? What is the final benefit for the society? Like 1982, 40 years, organic design, constructed and developed, and now an important park for the citizens of Amsterdam. Or the Floriade 92. It was designed and constructed 30 years ago. The infrastructure was meant to be permanent. Now half of the area is used for private houses. And the Expo in 2002 in Haarlemmermeer, a landscape project with a 45-meter high viewing hill, and believe it or not, that is quite high in the Netherlands, in our flat country. Every year now, more than 1 million visitors in this recreation area. And every year, except last year, of course, it hosts Mysteryland, a famous music festival. At this Floriade in 2002, there was one pavilion very special. It was the Green City Pavilion, where growers and scientists informed the visitors about the important role of plants in our living and working environment. Not only about their beauty, but also about their contribution for improvement of the urban climate. It's fantastic that we now, 20 years later, are constructing a green city in the city of Almere. And it's really a unique concept. A city which will be used for an expo, a city under construction will be used for half a year for this expo and later on further developed. For example, this campus square, which is green buildings, hundreds of students will enjoy this green square during the study after the expo. But during the expo, this university, AIPH University, will be used as one of the entrance buildings. Also the forum, which is constructed already. And this building, and in this building, students and scientists, together with entrepreneurs, will develop an innovative program for sustainable food supply. During, but also after the expo. During the expo next year, visitors will have a beautiful view from the cable car. For example, on the Floating Art Museum, which is also a permanent building in this city. But let's descend now, because this cable car is still under construction, almost finished, but in a few months we can use it. I'd like to invite you for a tour at our Floriade site. It's a tour I make several times a week, and I'd like to explain you more about this new green city. Master plan is designed by Winnie Maas. It's based on a grid pattern that divides the site in 192 developable plots of around 1500 square meter. It is an 800 by 800 square grid, which also connects different existing elements like the two islands in the north and even a part of a highway in the south. Now we are designing and constructing this green city, and for me as a landscaper there are several important starting points. I like to explain about it. First, how to deal with the existing green. We made an inventory of all the existing trees in this area and kept almost all the trees which are in a good condition. For me, is this a very important starting point. Building a new town, but making advance of all the green which is already there. And in this area, there were several hundred, maybe 2000 trees altogether. And I know it's not easy for the constructors. Not easy to construct and develop a new town and an expo between all those existing trees. But the final result will be amazing. And finally, a time gain of around 40-45 years. Like this almond tree, it stands almost in the road. It's also a Dutch saying, stands in the way. And now this tree will give you a special feeling, a feeling that green is really important, even more important than pavement. And by the way, the pavement is designed half open, so the rainwater goes directly back to the ground, to the soil, or will flow on top of the pavement to the surrounding canals. Starting point number 2. During this expo, for the visitors, but also later for the inhabitants of this new town, we will bring the people in close contact to nature. Nature will play a more and more important role in our cities. Now, but for sure in the future. And like this beautiful forest, only 45 years old. But imagine, in the middle of a new town, this kind of areas. We have to be very respectful to this existing nature. And in one area, on the Utopia Island, there is during the Floriade, but also after the Floriade, an agroforestry project in development now. Young entrepreneurs grow herbs, vegetables, and tea and fruits in a very balanced way with nature. And you can see the results are very promising. Starting point number 3. And that is about the new green structure. The new green structure in this project, for this new town, but also for the Expo, is a 4-meter wide planting zone around each building plot. Altogether, 83,000 square meters as a long-term structural planting. And we call this the Green City Arboretum, a collection of trees, shrubs and perennials which contribute to a healthy green city and contribute to the 4 themes of the Floriade. It's a unique collection of plants and trees, and all those trees are planted according to the alphabet. The botanical name determines their position, even the second letter or the first initial of the variety. We started in the northwest corner with the letter A, planted many azers, and at the end in the southeast we finished with the letter Z, Zelkova. And all those plants, all those trees contribute to a green and healthy city. And it's very interesting for students, for developers, for landscape architects to see what kind of collection this will be. They can learn about it, they can learn about what kind of plants should be used in a real green city. Not only trees, but also shrubs, like the 90,000 smaller shrubs. This is a variety of Mahonia, but many other varieties, of course, will be shown there. 180,000 perenials and ornamental grasses, also planted according to their botanical names, but designed in a different mixture of plants. In the E area, we use only plants starting with the letter E, but we mix them. This provides us the flexibility we need for color combinations or a suitable plant height groupings, and of course the Expo level. But for example, plot 38 in the B area, Bergenia in combination with Bufftalmen, both different flowering period, with Berberis and Buxus, evergreens. The C area is completed. See one of those plots there. This is a mixture of Cotaderia and Carex in combination with Campanula and Camassia. But next to the Arboretum, we construct main green structures at the Floriade, like the Boulevard. It's an infrastructure of 4 times 800 meters. It's a frame around all the colorful plots of this new town. A frame with white flowering plants, attractive for bees, birds and butterflies, a 3.2 kilometer long butterfly belt. With Hydrangeia, white flowering roses, Hyderia, in combination with white bulb flowers for naturalizing. With a height difference of 4 meters. We will plant blue flowering perennials on the lowest part between ornamental grasses, also nice corresponding with the blue color of the electric buses. But there will be much more to be seen at the Floriade Expo. The national and international pavilions, always a nice place for a country to strengthen international relationships and to investigate new trade opportunities or to promote your country. Like Indonesia, it will participate with an exhibition to enlarge the awareness of the importance to care for the environment. With their exhibition next year, they want the world to be aware of the threat of climate change for their 70,000 islands. Or Qatar. This is still a concept, but the pavilion is inspired by a traditional pigeon tower. A pavilion which will be printed during the Expo, and after the Expo, when it is ready, it will be sunk into the ocean to be the base for a new coral bank. And France likes to promote their green city around its theme, Back to the Future. It's a concept that combines ancestral know-how and innovation to build the city of tomorrow in collaboration with nature. Now, the final project on this tour is one of our special garden projects. There are several of them, and I want to explain you one specific. Other projects like ecological footprint or how improve nature in your own private garden are some of them. But the future in classic, it is the Instagram flower project, and it's located on a nice slope in the middle of the Expo site, where we designed 8 plots for special plant arrangements. Visitors can take a picture of their friends or themselves between the flowers. For that reason, we invited 8 Dutch plant designers, and maybe you know them. 4 of them with a long-term experience, like Ton ter Linde, Jacqueline van der Kloet, Fleur van Zonneveld, and 4 upcoming talents like Stefan Jaspers, and the winner of a contest between landscape architects at the university in the Netherlands. 8 arrangements with special plant combinations to show the importance of a good plant design. At the Floriade you will see many different varieties of plants, but this will be a location where we bring them together on a very qualified way. And we hope that we will make the people and the visitors more enthusiastic about the beauty of plants. But next to all the information at the Floriade Expo about innovation and new techniques, about ecology, about sustainable developments, the visitors always like to see flowers in the Netherlands, and this part of the project will contribute to that. To finish, according to the University of Wageningen's Municipal Green Space Benchmark, Almere has over 100% more green space per inhabitant than other Dutch cities of a similar size. With a lot of open green space in Almere, their living areas used to be perceived as a little dull in comparison with city center living. But because of the recent COVID-19 pandemic, these housing areas close to Amsterdam become highly desirable at this moment. And that's exactly what we expected already maybe 20 years ago. The important role of green for our living and working environment. When we started the Green City philosophy with our pavilion, the Floriade 2002, we never expected that now we are able to build this green city. And I'm sure, and I'm very happy that we can do it, but I'm sure, and for me, two words are very important. And that is the word health and the word green. Because I expect that in our cities, health in relation to our green surrounding, but also the food we will eat, and green, which make it possible, we will make this possible, will be the 2 keywords for our future city and urban planning developments. I thank you very much, and I hope to see you all next year at this growing green city in Almere. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.